Plug your ears in, man. You know who it is. Storm Hunters.
Do you have the grit?
Do you have the grind?
We want to welcome everybody to the Grit and Grind Sports Show podcast live, and we want to thank our host this week, Southern Dash.
Southern Nash Firebird, Sean. We back at my home,
Your
my
host.
stomping ground.
Week
Southern
one.
Nash Week 1. They happy we're here.
They are.
And you know what?
Glad for us to be hosting.
I tell you, man, I am so excited. This is the first week of football. Last night I was getting prepared for the show. I'm up there listening to my old school hip hop, listening to a little Eric B. Rakim.
I ain't no joke.
Yeah, ain't no joke. And you know, just getting pumped up for the show.
That's it.
Yeah.
And we also want to thank our new viewers, Channel 19, 7 p.m. on Thursday, and Studio 67, Nash Community College, for tuning in. And also, you continue to watch the Grit and Grind on our YouTube channel, The Grit and Grind. Well, Daryl, it's that time.
It's that time. It's that time.
Grit Stone.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get started.
Well, Daryl, you know, mainly around this time we would do the Grit and Grind Players of the Week, but it's week one. If you're new to the show, you may not understand what this is, but I will let Daryl explain how the Grit and Grind Players of the Week are determined, and we'll be bringing that segment back next week.
Next week, we'll have our first Grit and Grind Player of the Week award. So basically what the Grit and Grind Player of the Week award, we have a grit player on the defensive side of the ball and a grind player on the offensive side of the ball. And so each week we will find a player that showed that grit and that grind to be considered the player of the week for our show. And so looking forward to get started with that part of the show next week.
Next week we'll bring that back. Also, we got other segments you'll see us start to roll off as the season goes on. Smoky Mountain Game of the Week. So you'll see those things come back around week 2, week 3, week 4. Well, Daryl, the first game we want to look at this week, this is kind of an easy week because we don't have a Grit and Grind player because it's week 1. So we'll jump right to a game of the week. And this one right here is one that you talked about last week. If you didn't watch the pregame tailgate show of this season, I encourage you to go back and watch this. But this is one of the ones you had highlighted on your radar map. This Franklinton Apex game.
Yeah, it was the Franklinton Apex game. It was kind of for Franklinton coming out of our conference down here.
Right.
And going up into, up in Apex, North Carolina. That's
Powerhouse 4A conferences up there.
4A conference out of the Southwest Wake 4A conference.
That's
They'll
right.
be playing Apex. And so, Sean, tell us a little bit about Franklinton and what they got this year.
Well, Franklinton's got a tough test. You know, if you watched the show last week, you know what we're going to talk about. We'll hit some of these notes again for our new viewers who haven't had a chance to go back and view. Franklinton was 4-7 last year, 3-4. But like we said, come Friday night, all that's out the window.
Yeah, that's out the window.
Season.
New season.
Non-conference last year. One of their best non-conference seasons, but I'm going to talk about these games. They lost to Cornhuskers 39-20. 39-20, you end that game, maybe some mistakes made, caused the score to go that way. Then they went to Northern Durham, 46-40. Another game. You were in that game. Some costly mistakes. Could have been a fumble, interception, a couple 4 and outs. Anything could happen. Muff kick to make that game go not your way. But then they went to JF Well, 1A school. Beat JF Webb 52-7. That's a game they always play, so they know JF Webb.
I was going to say that. They know JF Webb, so that is definitely a game they should have got prepared for. Yeah.
Then they got in the stride.
Yeah.
Because then we got in the conference play, played the 2A schools, beat their rival Lewisburg, beat their rival Bud. Only loss they got in 2A was Nash Central, but you know that Nash Central team last year, when they got to Franklin, they were red hot.
That was it.
Then they went that stretch where they played the 3A schools. They kind of didn't do so good in that. But when I look at this Franklin team this year, I checked the roster last night. And I had to double check this roster 1-2 times. And this may not be accurate as of the day of the recording. But as of last night, Daryl, this team dressed 99 players.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold up.
99 players are on this roster that are getting dressed. Now, I don't know if all 99
what I'm going to say there.
are getting in the game. But and it could be some double names up there 2-3 times. But when I went through 2 times last night and counted this roster, I got 99 both times. So
Okay.
it's a big team.
Hey, 99, yeah, that is definitely a big team.
That's a deep team.
Okay, all right, Franklinton.
And one thing I saw about this game is you get this game right here, and then your next game is on the road. You're going to Winterville to play South Central, to play the Falcons, South Central, and Winterville. Last year, South Central went 1-9, 0-6, down year for them. So if you're Franklinton, you got a chance where you can win. If you lose this game, you can bounce back. We're not saying that they can go into South Central and beat them, because South Central may be a new squad this year.
Yeah.
May got more veterans coming back. But if you're Franklinton, this is a game that you want to go in and check yourself.
Yeah.
And we ain't gonna say check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Right.
But you're gonna want to check yourself
You
to
want to
see,
just see where you stand.
see where you stand at,
Yeah.
because this is a team that had a deep run. But I look at this, after this game, you know what they got next?
Who you got?
They got the rival Lewisburg after the South Central game, week 3.
Okay, that's
That's
gonna be
a
a
big
big
game.
game. I was gonna say that's gonna be a big game for them
Then they got Wakefield, week 4, on the road.
on the road.
A Wakefield team that's looking at a new identity.
Yeah.
New coaching staff, new changes up there, new identity. Then they jump right into conference play. They got Roanoke Rapids. Then they got Nash Central. Then they got Bud. Then they go into the 3A games of conference. The Southerns, the Northerns, and Rocky Mount.
That's a lot. That's gonna.
These
that's a
non-conference
tough
games for Franklinton really count.
Yeah,
Starting Friday night.
yeah.
Because as we said, they can lead non-conference. They got 4 scenarios. 4-0, undefeated. Beat everybody non-conference. 3-1. 1-3. Lost his Apex.
Okay, yeah.
2-2. Split. 1-2 up.
And
Lost
and
2
those are the scenarios that you want if you're Franklinton. The possibilities of what you could have
coming out this
coming
non-conference
out of this
schedule.
non-conference schedule.
Because you don't
Yeah.
want the 1-3, 0-4
No.
going into conference
so
play.
at least 3-1 or 2-4, 2-2.
Right. You
and
want
then
that.
you getting into the conference.
And
that's
then
what
you got
want.
some wins on your resume. So when you get into Big East Conference play, if you run up against the Southerns and Northerns and the Rocky Mountains, and it's not your night. If you run up against a Nash Central or a Boone or a Roanoke Rapids,
Right.
it's not your night. You got some good wins in non-conference that won't hurt you at the end of the season when we're looking
Right.
at season for playoffs. I mean, I don't know what to say about this game. I think it's a very good game for Franklinton. Like we said last week, it's a measure stick game. But they got to do a lot, Daryl.
Yeah, they definitely got to do a lot.
And tell me a little bit about this home team tonight,
Well,
Apex.
they go into Apex, and Apex is a school that we don't talk about on our show as much because they're not in our conference or in
Right.
our region. But also want to give a shout out because my son goes to Apex, Robert Lucas. So Apex Cougars, like I said earlier, they are the Southwest Wake 4A conference. Last year they was 10-2, which was a great season for Apex. They was 6-1 in the conference. They lost to Hillside in the second round of the playoffs, 46-43. That was a good game.
That's a
but-
nail biter.
Yeah, and both teams was putting up points. But the thing with this Apex team on offense, you lose a lot of production. Ian Bright, the running back, number 22 from last year, he had over 1,500 yards rushing. Trey Barbie, the wide receiver, he had over 1,100 yards receiving. I mean, you're talking about 2 players that was in the top 25 ranking in their conference at 4A.
That's big.
And that is a lot of productivity that Apex is losing. And then on defense, you're talking about Deshaun Haney, outside linebacker. I mean, he had over 100 tackles last year. So you're losing productivity on offense, and you're also losing productivity on defense. And on top of that, they lost 25 seniors. And we've been talking about this since our preseason show of all these teams that are losing so many seniors this
That's
year.
it.
And the thing is who's going to step up for these teams in these upcoming games? And so looking at Apex, they got a lot of good things coming back. And let's start with the quarterback, Chase Klingerman. I mean, he put over 2,900 yards passing last year.
Wow.
2,900 yards. And he is the bright spot for Apex right now at quarterback. But the only thing I see with the offensive side is who's going to step up. You got a running back in Danzy. He had 200 yards rushing last year. And again, it goes back to what we're saying. Who's stepping up? You got
Right.
wide receivers and Brandon Tate, Walker. Tate had 400 yards receiving last year. So there's a lot of question marks for this Apex team. And on defense, again, you had players that played last year.
Right.
They played in a lot of games, productivity may not have been what they wanted. So again, that coaching staff at Apex has to see, are these guys that are the juniors, the seniors now, are they going to step up? I mean, you got Jeffries, Harris, Artis, Peters, Brooks on defense. These guys got to step up and take the lack from what they had from last year's team.
Right.
And be in a position to make plays.
Because they probably went from being the reliever of the starter to now you
Right.
are the starter.
So now you are the starter. And the good thing, too, about this Apex team, you got 41 players coming back that was on your roster last year. So you got a lot of guys that was in the system last year, that knows the program, that knows what the coaching staff wants. And for Apex, what I see for them is two keys for this game is step up. Who's going to step up? You got a lot of productivity that left this team from last year's squad. You got to step up this year. Who's the guys that's going to step up for you? So if I'm a fan of Apex, that's what I'm going to look for in this game. If the game is 37-7, Apex way, I think I'll feel pretty good.
I feel good.
But if that game is 37-24, then we got to go back to the drawing board and see what we need to do.
We
to
got to
work on.
win, but we got to go back to the drawing board.
Because you got some tough conference games coming up for Apex with Holly Springs, Panther Creek, Apex Friendship, Middle Creek.
That's tough
These
game.
teams are waiting for you because you beat them last year. And they're not going to forget about those beats that y'all gave to them last year. So Apex has a lot of potential. In this game against Franklinton, I don't see it as I see it as who's stepping up. And then the second key I would say is execute. Who's going to execute the plays that
Right.
coaches are showing them? You know, who's going to be that wide receiver that's going to get over so Chase can throw the ball, and when that ball comes and the wide receiver cuts his break, the ball is there. And
Right.
they're ready to catch it. You know, and who's going to be that running back that's going to hit that hole when the offensive line open it up for him for that 2-3 seconds? You know, so those are the things that for Apex, that's what you want to look for. And so it's going to be a good game. But if we had to pick, well, we're going to do our picks later.
We'll do our picks
We'll
later,
do our picks
but-
later on this one.
Well, moving to our next one, Darren, this is pretty much our game of the week over here in our area. It's a game that I said was a game favorite on my sheet last week on the preseason show, and you also had this one highlighted. Tarboro and Rocky Mount. Woo. Feel like the
That-
third year in a row.
Third year in a row.
Big rivalry between two neighboring counties.
Yeah.
Rocky Mount and Tarboro, I think 15, 20-minute distance between each other.
Yep.
Big rivalry down 64. And I mean, this once again is one of those games that you look at on the sheet and you say, can either start our season off the right way or make us go back to the drawing board, and now we got to play catch up week 2.
Yeah. And that's the thing. So you want to start with Tarboro?
Let me start with Tarboro.
All right.
Tarboro, as everybody know, we said it last week, 13-2, 6-0.
What year you want to put that in?
Same old Tarboro.
Same old Tarboro. Whatever season, we can pretty much pencil that.
As
their
Tarboro
record.
standards.
Yeah.
Made it to a state championship. Lost against Mount Airy 21. 9-0 at home last year. 4-1 on the road last year. 0-1 on neutral field up there in, I think it was either Raleigh or Durham. They played state championship. But last year, Tarboro beat Rocky Mount 35-7. And they open up this year coming to Rocky Mount. A lot of people said 3 years ago when the storm came through that night, when Tarboro came to Rocky Mount, they said Rocky Mount had them on the ropes. I said Rocky Mount had them on the ropes.
Yep.
I said they had them, but Tarboro, everybody said if that game, if the storm would have never came and the lightning would have never came, could Rocky Mount defeated Tarboro? Tarboro pretty much silenced the critics last year with a win in Tarboro. But the thing I keep talking about this Tarboro game is losing to Mount Airy. Will they come week 1 and have a hangover and not be able to bounce back?
That's the question that I was having this week when we was looking at this game. What Tarboro team is going to show up?
Right.
Are
Because
they
a lot
still
of
gonna be
people
lacking from what happened
in that state
in that
championship.
state championship game.
Because a lot of members on this team were sophomores,
Right.
juniors, have all now became juniors and seniors. Some become freshmen coming up. So this team that's coming to Rocky Mount is pretty much the same
Yeah,
team.
pretty much the same
Just, do they still got that bad taste in their mouth is the question. To me, this is a big game for Tarboro because after that, You know what the next game is?
What's that?
Hereford County.
Ooh.
They lost to Hereford County.
That's what I was
last
going to say. Last year, they lost to Hereford County.
year. Then they got their rival, North Edgecombe.
Yeah, right around the corner.
Big game.
Yeah,
Then after that, Function in the Junction.
yeah.
They going to Cougar Town, down to
Cougar
Pine Town.
Town, and
And
they're
depending
waiting
on how
for 'em.
Southwest is,
Yeah.
that could be a big game.
Good. Could be.
So this game right here for Tarboro means a lot for them if they want to get back on that Tarboro track. But I mean, Daryl, when you look at Tarboro, they got the lead in rusher. Kamir McDowell-Moore, he was a seasoned sophomore now. He rushed for 107 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got Stafford, a junior, 96 yards.
Yeah.
So both of their productive backs are back.
Yeah.
So this Tarboro team is still the same Tarboro. They're loaded, but will they be able to shake off that state championship? I don't know. I about know where my pick is at. I'm still teetering on this pick.
Okay.
But if you tell me about Rocky Mount, it may help me change
It
my
may,
mind,
well-
or it may keep me on the fence teetering. I don't know.
Well, that's how I'm going to start this one off. Well,
Okay.
Now, Rocky Mount last year had a good season for Rocky Mount. They came in third in the Big East Conference.
Comeback season.
Comeback season. They
Runner
actually
up.
Runner up to
Grit and Grind.
Grit and Grind champs. And so they were 7-4, 4-2 in the conference. Lost in the first round in the playoffs to Jacksonville. I think it was 21-19.
21-19, Jacksonville came on the road.
But on offense, Rocky Mount has lost a lot of good players, and starting with their quarterback, Stephon Jones.
Heart and soul of that team
Yeah,
last year.
and running back Elijah Battle is another one. And then you had the wide receiver Mitchell as well. And so you're looking at over 2,000 yards of productivity on offense that is gone off this team right now. And then on defense, you're losing 13 seniors off that defense. 13. Again, it goes back to what we said last week. It's hard to replace that much talent, that much leadership on one team.
It is.
And Rocky Mount is in that situation. I mean, some of their key players that's no longer there is Williams, Lynch, and Parker on defense. So Rocky Mount has lost a lot. But they do have a good running back coming back in Silvers.
Okay, they do.
Elijah Silvers, he had 600 yards rushing and close to 1,000 yards all-purpose yards last year for them. They got a sophomore and Mitchell at running back as well. Didn't play as much, but I'm looking for more productivity from him this year. And so you have those two factors. Quarterback, we still don't know.
Right, we still
We
right.
still don't know about quarterback for Rocky Mount. We don't know if it's a JV player that's going to come up
Or somebody was on
somebody else that was on the team last year.
Right.
So that is the question mark for Rocky Mount. Defensive wise, Joshua Perkins, for me, he's 6'2", 210. He's a defensive end, number 85. He's going to have to step up. He's going to have to be one of those leaders, him and Tarboro Parker. Both of them is going to have to be the leaders because they basically played a lot last year on defense for Rocky Mount. Perkins, he had roughly about 66 tackles, and Parker, he had around about 58 tackles. So with those two guys, they would have to be that cornerstone for this team in the beginning of the season to get everybody in the right position, to get everybody to do their job,
That's the
and
key
to
word.
be able to play at a high level. So I'm looking for a lot of leadership out of those two guys on defense. And to help them out, I'm looking at Mitchell, Norwood, and Lee Jones also on defense to help them out. It's going to be tough.
It is.
It's going to be tough, but for Rocky Mount to win this game, for me, is a couple things. Be penalty free. No penalty. None. Cut down on it.
You
Don't be in a
Tarboro, you
situation.
have to do that.
Right, because Tarboro's going to take advantage. Don't be where it's 3rd and 8, and you jump outside, and you get them only 3 yards to get it.
That's it.
And they in that wing T, and you know what that means.
Tarboro T.
That's first down.
First down. They
So
gonna head the ball
cut
out.
down off of that. And then second, do your job. Again, don't worry about the guy behind you. Do what you're supposed to do.
That's key word.
Focus on what if you're that defensive end, you know, okay, I can't let this guy get on the outside.
Focus
So
on
I got
your
to
assignment.
bring
Containment.
everything on the inside.
Containment.
So Perkins, contain. So Parker can come up at linebacker and
Let's
make
go.
the play.
There you go.
You got to contain. And then execute the play on offense. If Silvers is running the ball and you know you that offensive lineman, and that's your gap. You got to make that hold that defensive player up long enough so he can hit that hole.
Hold that line.
Do your job. And then the last thing I would say for Rocky Mount, play hard with a lot of effort. Give it all you got. Don't just go out there and say, I'm happy to be on the team.
That's it.
Give it all you got.
Leave it on the field.
That's it. Just leave it on the field. Yes, Tarboro beat you last year. That's last year. Don't worry about that.
That's it.
Think about Friday night, what you got to do.
You're hosting this game.
And play hard. So those are the keys to the game for me, for Rocky Mount to win. It's going to be tough, but it can be done.
It can be done. And if anybody can have Rocky Mount ready, I know Coach Battle can have it ready.
Definitely.
Well, Daryl, as we transition into, if you're new to our show, our 5-minute quick pick, this is the part of the show where we go through all the games in the surrounding area and we give you our picks of who we think will win. But we encourage you to put your picks into the comment section. So if you're watching on Studio 67 NCC or on our YouTube channel, The Grit and Grind, go in the comment section, put your picks in so we can see what the viewership is speaking. And also, you can see our picks in the Nashville graphic.
Oh, yeah, that's something new.
Something
new this year.
Starting off 8-man football, Daryl. And who are we, Daryl? The only show.
The only show talking 8-man football is The Grit and Grind.
First game, Rocky Mount Academy versus Brunswick Academy.
I'm going Rocky Mount Academy.
I'm going Rocky Mount Academy.
All right.
Faith Christian versus Halifax Academy. Easy one for me. Faith Christian.
I was going to say Faith Christian. I'm going Faith Christian on that one.
Wayne Christian versus Beacon Hill Homeschool.
Woo.
Long name. Going with the easy one. Give me Wayne Christian.
You know what? I'm going the opposite.
You going Beacon Hill Homeschool?
I'm going to homeschool.
Beacon Hill Homeschool. Daryl got you. Our 8-man Grit and Grind game of the week that we didn't talk about, but we talked about in our tailgate show, the inaugural season for the Sally B. Howard Eagles. They will be hosting CCS Cyclones, I believe at Toys Dock Middle School or at CCS. They haven't put a place for the game yet, but that is the game.
Mm-hmm.
Down after watching the pregame show, hearing what you said,
Yep.
I'm like you. If you're the Eagles of Sally B. Howard, you win your first game. That's a monument for you and your program as you start to build.
Yep.
I'm going Sally B. Howard.
I'm going with the Eagles too.
Eagles gonna fly high.
Eagles fly. I'm going with Eagles.
Let's jump over to 11-man football. Let's go right here in our area and start with Rocky Mount Prep versus Hottest Track. Rocky Mount Prep's in a rebuilding season. I'm gonna take Rocky Mount Prep on this one.
Yeah, I'm going Rocky Mount
I think Prep again.
Yeah, I think they got this one.
Let's go to Wilson. Bettyfield versus Fight. Big rivalry.
Ooh, I was
Give me
gonna say,
Coach.
that's big time.
Rivalry. I got my pick.
Ooh, I'm going Fight.
Give me Coach Big. Give me Bettyfield.
You going Bedfield? Okay.
I'm going Bettyfield.
All right.
WPA, if you don't know what that stands for, Wilson Prep Academy versus hashtag Go Chargers of Aiden Griffin. Big game for the Tigers.
Yeah.
1A versus a 2A powerhouse out of Aiden Griffin. Tigers did big for their inaugural season last year. Got to the playoffs. Had a great season. But this is a game that's a measure stick for the Tigers.
Yeah, this is.
I got to go hashtag Chargers, Aiden Griffin.
You going Aiden Griffin?
I'm going
Aiden Griffin with you on that one as well.
Big game over in Wayne County. CBA Cop versus Rosewood rivalry game. Rosewood got to the Eastern 1A championship finals where they played Tarboro and lost to Tarboro. ACOP deep run in the playoffs, but I said last week ACOP will win the Quad City.
That's what you said. You said it.
And I'm sticking with it. ACOP for me.
All right, I'm going Rose Hill.
You going Rosewood?
I'm going Rosewood. Let's go Rosewood. I'm looking for the upset.
That's an upset then. Big upset. Yeah, they could do it. Let's go over to East Wake. Roseville versus Butler. Same old Roseville, same old Rams.
I'm going Roseville.
I'm going Roseville. Wake Forest versus Clayton. That's a big game.
That is a big time game.
Big game over there.
As a matter of fact, I was down in Clayton earlier this morning. And I saw the fellas walking towards the field, getting ready.
They're getting ready for this game.
So,
measure stick game.
It's a big time measuring stick. I'm going Clayton.
I got to stick with Coach Reggie over there. Give me Wake Forest. Quimp Holders versus Sanderson's, another big game. I think Sanderson's going to take this.
Yeah, I'm going with Sanderson on that.
Nightdale versus Pinecrest. A lot of people forgot how good the Knights were last year. Deep run.
Yeah, I'm sticking with Nightdale.
I'm sticking with Nightdale.
We got some friends in the area.
That's it, they're watching.
Got a son too playing for Nightdale. I'm going with Nightdale.
Let's jump over to our conference. Roanoke Rapids versus Northampton County. Roanoke Rapids shocked the world last year, beating Northampton in week 1.
And Northampton has not forgotten about that.
Northampton has not forgotten about that.
So I'm going Northampton on this one.
I'm going Northampton. Northwest Halifax versus Pastate County. Say that 3 times
Ooh.
fast. I can't say it 3 times fast, so
No.
I'm going to go with Northwest
That's what I'm
Halifax.
going to say. I'm going Northwest Halifax as well.
Kemp Pride versus Washington County.
There it is. Kemp Pride.
That's your school.
That's my squad. Kemp Pride.
Darryl has been waiting on the Kemp Pride game.
Kemp Pride.
He is
That's
infatuated
it.
with the name and the Tigers.
Just the name. I'm going Kemp Pride. I don't care who they play it.
You going Kemp Pride.
Kemp Pride.
Kemp
That's
Pride
it.
versus Washington County. I think that's the pay-em pack of Washington County. Give me Washington County this week.
Okay.
Warren County versus Vance County. Got a lot of people in both of those areas that watch this game.
Watch it. I'm going Warren County.
You going Eagles?
I'm going to Eagles, Warren County.
The Warren County Eagles are a big fan of Darryl, but they're not a fan of me.
No.
I pick them in some games, but I think the Vipers of Vance County. That's a big rivalry game between them.
rivalry game.
I'm taking Vance County. Lewisburg's off this week,
Okay.
so let's go ahead and jump into Nash County Big East football over here.
All right, here we go.
So let's start with the first game, Bunn versus Whiteville.
That's going to be a tough game. I'm going to go Bunn. Bunn is, I just feel something about this Bunn team.
They started red hot. last year.
I've seen some comments online, some of the things they're doing, focus how they are, how they're getting focused. I think Bunn's going to have a good season.
Southern, I'm going Bunn. I'm going Bunn. I'm
Okay.
going Bunn. Southern Nash versus Eastway.
Firebirds.
Fibers.
Yeah.
Eastway.
Yeah.
Northern Nash versus Hunt. Northern Nash coming off a state championship loss.
Yeah, we talked about that last week with Northern Nash.
Would they have a hangover?
Will they have a hangover?
Hunt looking for a staple win on their resume.
Yeah,
I
but I
caught some
don't
of
think
the
they're going to
jamboree.
get it in this game.
I don't think so. I
No.
saw some of the jamboree. They look good out there. Coach Juan's team is ready, but I think Northern Nash is knowing that this, like you said, this is the game they want to work the kinks out
Yeah, you
as
want
they
the Kings
keep
out.
going.
Yeah.
I'm going Northern Nash. Nash Central versus Southeast Halifax.
Nash Central.
I think Nash Central.
Yeah,
I
Nash
think they're
Central
going to handle
starts
business
their
on this.
campaign for the Green Grind Nash County Champs. Starts next Friday.
You heard that,
Yeah,
ladies and
they're
gentlemen.
starting their campaign.
Let's start that
They're
campaign.
starting the campaign next week.
I'm going Nash Central on that one. Southwest Edgecombe versus North Edgecombe rivalry game.
I'm going Southwest. I like them
SWE.
Cougars.
I like
I'm
them
going
Cougars.
I'm going
I
with
think the Cougars are bouncing back.
Yep.
Let's jump into our 2 games we talked about right here, Darryl. Let's go first with Franklinton going up on the road to Apex to play the 4A powerhouse.
Again, I think with this game is where you at, what you're looking to work on and practice after this game.
That's
is
it.
the key for this. For Apex, is just like I was saying, the key factors is just who's going to step up.
That's right.
That's the biggest thing for Apex. I'm looking for if I was a fan, and I'm picking Apex in this game.
Franklinton going to Apex, a measuring stick for their program right here. I just think Apex has too much firepower, but I think Franklinton finds their identity and they get ready for the next week for the next 4A game against South Central. I'm taking Apex.
All right.
Our game of the week over here in our area, Rocky Mount, hosting Vikings of Tarboro, coming off just like
Yeah.
Northern Nash, coming off a state championship loss.
Again, with the Rocky Mountain team, you lost a lot of players,
Lost a lot of productivity.
a lot of productivity, but who's going to come in and replace those players? Who's got that grit, that grind that we talk about
That's
all
what-
the
that's
time?
what it's about.
Who's going to execute the plays? Who's going to do their job? All of these things are going to be important if Rocky Mount wants to win this game. If I had to pick, I'm saying the upset. I'm going Rocky Mount's going to win this game against Tarboro.
What?
I'm going Rocky Mount.
got-
I'm going Rocky Mount.
We got to ask the $1 million question.
Yeah.
Final answer.
Final answer, Rocky Mount Griffons. I'm going Rocky Mount.
Upset
Upset
Tarboro.
playing at home.
They're playing at home.
First game of the season.
And when that
they're going to be hyped up,
we seen
ready to play.
We seen that crowd in Rocky Mount when
we
they
seen
get
the
going.
crowd in Rocky Mount hyped up, ready to play, and I think they're going to get the upset.
You go for the upset.
I'm going for the upset. I'm going Rocky Mount.
Let me talk to you.
Uh-oh.
Tarboro's going to roll into Rocky Mountain. They're going to put that loss behind them from the state championship. Coach Craddock's going to come through there, and they're going to win a game and go back to Tarboro, and they're going to begin their campaign. And I'm going to go ahead and say, even though we don't have it up there, to become the Grit and Grind Edge-Code County Champs, their campaign for it, and begin their campaign for another state championship appearance. I'm picking Tarboro for the win.
All right. So our picks are in, and like Shawn said, you can do your picks on our YouTube channel. Also, where can you else find our picks at?
They can also find them in the graphic of Nashville, the Nashville graphic. You can see our picks in there. Also, we want you to play along. So if you're new to us and you're watching on Studio 67, Nash CC, or if you're watching on the Grit and Grind, put your picks in for some of these games down there so we can see your comments. And don't forget, you can tune in every Thursday at 7 p.m. on Channel 19 to see the Grit and Grind show podcast live on Channel 19. We want to thank Southern Nash, Daryl,
Southern Nash Firebirds, back home.
for hosting us this week, and we will see you next week better than ever on week 2 of the Grit and Grind Sports Show podcast.